Everybody, and welcome to the groundbreaking for the stacks. My name is Matt Klein. I'm president and CEO of Ackridge. And holy moly, have we been waiting a long time for this day. We purchased this site with our two partners, National Real Estate Advisors and Blue Coast Capital, back in 2005. Just for a little bit of perspective, that is 18 months before the launch of the very first iPhone, right? A little bit of context. I guess this is where I'm supposed to say that patience is a virtue. Good things come to all those who wait. But really, that's a lot of baloney, right? In fact, suggesting that there is such a thing as a patient developer is on par with suggesting that there is such a thing as Bigfoot. You can talk about it, but you know that just don't really exist. But today's celebration is all about the future, and we are so excited about the stacks. My partner and our head of development, Adam Gooch, will give more details about this complicated and transformative project. But at 1 million square feet and over 1,000 residential units, this project required vision, hard work, and collaboration from an awful lot of people. We all know the old saying that it takes a village. Well, for this project, it took a small city. And I want to recognize some important contributors to getting us here today. First and foremost, I want to recognize our elected leaders, starting with Mayor Muriel Bowser. Councilmember Charles Allen is here. John Falsicchio, Deputy Mayor, is here. We also have several members of our ANC that are here with us today as well. I'll more appropriately introduce the mayor and our council member in just a little bit. We have had two amazing partners on this project since 2005, National Real Estate Advisors and Blue Coast Capital. They always understood the inherent value of this site and contributed to the patients in a big way. I want to recognize our long-term partners from National Real Estate Advisors and Blue Coast Capital. With us today, Jeff Canny, Kevin Verdi, TJ Hoffenheimer, and Sammy Stalkup from National, and from Blue Coast Capital, Hector Caldera. For the last 3 years, we've also been fortunate to have had a full engagement and collaboration with the National Development Team. Dan Killiger and Katie Hartley, Brian Dylas are here with us today. More recently, our partnership expanded to include the team from Bridge Investment Group. Brian Hines and Hank Miller from Bridge are here with us today. And also recently added to our team is our construction lender, Bank OZK. OZK is one of the most active and respected construction lenders in the United States, and we are grateful to have them here. David Sarner is here with us today. If you are here today, it's because you've been an important part of this project. I look out and I see a lot of faces that have been here with us for a very long time. We are incredibly grateful for your support and collaboration in getting us to this important milestone. We celebrate groundbreakings with such enthusiasm because they mark the transition from concept to execution. They are a celebration of new beginnings, new jobs, new housing, and with the stacks, an absolutely world-class project. Before I turn things over to Adam, I want to again thank the National Development Team for an amazing 3 years of collaboration in getting to this point. But I especially want to thank the Ackridge Development Team, led by Adam Gooch and Kristen Connell, with Andre Panamarev, Andrew Christopher, Gareth Ekman, Danny Petway. This group has been through a lot, some highs, some lows, and could not be more proud of this team's performance, their professionalism, their tenacity, in getting us to this important milestone. So, Adam Gooch, please tell us more about the project.
Thanks, Matt. I want to welcome everybody to the groundbreaking of DC's first velodrome. Sorry, wrong one. I want to welcome everybody to the groundbreaking of the stacks. And Matt, thank you very much for that great introduction. It has been a great collaboration, not only with Ackridge and National Development, but truly with every single person that's out in the audience today. And for that, we're very grateful. If we were all sitting here 75 years ago, we would be sitting on top of a giant coal pile, feeding that great power plant we have next door, which is a beautiful building, but glad it's not producing power anymore. I'm very happy to say that the highest and best use for this site is no longer a coal power plant, or a velodrome, or a beer garden, or a parking lot, or a federal enclave. The highest and best use is for 1,100 new, beautiful, inclusive residential units here on the tip of Buzzard Point in this what will be a great waterfront community. Everyone here that's been involved really knows that what we've been trying to do here is something different. Right? Something that we haven't seen in other developments, not only here in DC, but around the country. These large mixed-use projects are difficult to execute well. This development, in the long planning process that Matt laid out earlier, is really inspired by some of the great walkable cities around the world, in Europe, and we have some of our European designers here with us today. But it's also inspired by the great neighborhoods in Washington, D.C., Capitol Hill, Adams Morgan, Georgetown. They're great, livable communities where they've been incredibly successful walkable communities for generations, and we're trying to recreate that neighborhood feel down on Buzzard Point. We've got authentic materials, world-class architecture from the design team that's out in the audience today, great public spaces, and a neighborhood-serving retail plan that's really intended to serve the residents, the current and future residents of Buzzard Point. We're striving to create a very inviting, inclusive, and livable residential community down here on Buzzard Point. It wouldn't be possible without the great designers that are here today, many of whom suffered through these 77-person Zoom calls trying to create something that no one's ever done before. I can't tell you how difficult it is to collaborate amongst 77 people and 8 architecture firms when we're all sitting across the world at our desks at home. It's a credit to them that we were able to do that. It's also a credit to someone that's not here with us today, who many of you know, is Bob Schofield. Bob used to be the head of design and construction at Ackridge and is responsible for much of the early vision and pushing the design team and development team to create something that's worthy of this great city. It also wouldn't be possible without the mayor and her team at DEMPED, who worked with us very collaboratively to ensure that we had a great inclusive neighborhood with lasting affordable units, great public space, and great height in our buildings that allow to create the great architecture that we provided. So we thank you very much for all of your work with that. That was a huge lift, and we're very grateful. John, your team with Chiros and Gilles were invaluable to that. Thank you. Projects like this don't get done also without a lot, and I mean a lot, of capital. So I'd like to recognize our good friends at Cushman & Wakefield who are here today, Sean, Bindi, Marshall, for their introduction to Bank OZK and Bridge Investment Group, who collectively invested almost $600 million in this project. That is a lot of money. Brian, Hank, David, we're grateful for your confidence in the development team and our ability to execute on this project and the vision that we've laid out for Buzzard Point. Lastly, there's a lot of hard work still ahead of us, and I'm thankful and confident that we've brought in the strongest construction team in DC to execute on that. Clark Construction has done some of the largest, most complicated projects in DC. Suffice it to say, this is going to rank as one of them. I would like to say it's a simple project, but it's not. But with Mike and Molly and Chris and Victor and Allie and Justina and the rest of the team, we're confident we got the best team in the city to execute on this. And guys, we're counting on you to be here 3 years from now, cutting a ribbon, on time, under budget. See you back there. Until then, we're going to keep our eye on the ball, execute on this great project, and deliver a project that this city can be very proud of.
Part of what makes this project so special is the simple fact that it's in Washington, D.C., which happens to be the single best managed city in the world, period. This reality is the direct result of 8 years of exceptional leadership from our mayor, Muriel Bowser. I know this is not supposed to be a political type event, but I just want to say I hope we get 4 more years of your mayor. And you can be here with the ribbon cutting along with Councilmember Allen.
Well, greetings, everybody. I am really happy to be here today. I'm happy to join you at a beautiful part of our city. And I'm just reminded, people used to refer to Buzzard's Point as some forgotten part of D.C. In fact, I was being interviewed by a local reporter one time, and he referred to Buzzard Point as a godforsaken corner of Washington, D.C. And I assured him that God had forsaken no part of Washington, D.C. And now we are here talking about a transformational project that is added to another transformational project. And when it was referred to just now that there'll be 1,100 units here, there are going to be more Washingtonians and more opportunities for Washingtonians. And here we are continuing, and I know Charles is very proud of this, to re-engage the beautiful rivers that help to make Washington, D.C. so special, but have been too long neglected in our plans. So connecting to the rivers are a big part of how we will build more units and create more opportunity in Washington, D.C. It wasn't that long ago. I was on the council then, and everyone here remembers how we worked with the community, worked with the economic development team, worked with developers, and worked with Major League Sports to make sure that we could bring the world's sport to Washington, D.C. And we couldn't be more proud of what we have built together with Audi Field. Isn't it lovely? So now not only do we have DC United, we have the world champion Washington Spirit, we have a focus on sport and girls in sport, and it's so important to what we will do as a city together. We are also very focused on our goals of building more affordable housing in all 8 wards of Washington, D.C. You know well my goal of 36,000 units by 2025. And a focus on having a huge portion of those new units be affordable units, at least 1/3, in fact. These types of developments that are transformational, that create walkable communities, that make sure we have recreation with affordable housing and great amenities, make sure that people of all backgrounds and incomes can find their home in Washington. So I look forward to this getting underway. I do look forward to being here in 2025 to cut the ribbon. But more than that, I'm asking you to think about other ideas in all parts of Washington, D.C., at all levels of affordability, where we can address what's really number one on people's minds in Washington. How can they raise their families here, and how can they leave a legacy for their children? And I'm for it, and I know that we can do it in partnership. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Thank you very much. That was great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you again for your leadership, especially over the last 2 years. I can't imagine getting through COVID with anyone that could have done any better job than Mayor Bowser. Thank you very much. like to invite Charles Allen to come up and say a few words. Charles has been deeply invested in Ward 6 for, was it 15 years? Maybe more. When you talk to Charles, you get a quick understanding of not only how smart he is and how thoughtful he is, but indeed how passionate he is about all things Ward 6. From public safety to public schools, from crosswalks to small businesses. He knows and understands neighborhood issues, and we're really fortunate to have you as our Ward 6 council member. Charles.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Congratulations, Matt, Adam, to all the partners, the whole team. I know you thanked all of the real estate partners, the financing, important. Normally at events like this, I feel like the attorneys, the lawyers get a shout out. So thank you to all the lawyers that helped here. You probably were already thanked with the billable hours, but appreciate you helping make this happen. To Mayor Bowser, Deputy Mayor Falcicchio, you guys have been phenomenal partners in helping think through what this looks like, helping lift where it needs to be lifted, help fight where it needs to be fought. So thank you for helping make today happen as well. Let's give the mayor another round of applause. I gotta also give a shout out to our advisor neighborhood commissioners. Ricky Kramer, I believe, is here. She's the vice chair of ANC 60 and the commissioner for 6005. Rhonda Hamilton for 6006. Our ANC is phenomenal, and they've done a wonderful job of helping be very thoughtful about what development looks like, how to do it in a way that protects the residents that are already here, and is thoughtful and forward-looking about what it will look like as more people call this place home. So thank you, Ricky and Rhonda. Let's give them a round of applause. I'm just really excited about this project. It's been years in the making, and there's 2 points I just want to highlight. The first is on housing. The mayor already talked about this, so I'm just going to kind of lift up what she said. The mayor she laid out a goal for our city about how many new homes we have to create. I feel like oftentimes at events like this we say units. I'm going to call them homes. There wasn't anybody living here before, but there will be 1,100 new homes, many of which will be dedicated and reserved for affordability. Is transformative for our city, and if we care about, as I know we do, preserving and protecting affordable housing for our city to make sure we know that everybody can call this great place home, it means we've got to create more homes and, with intentionality, create affordable homes. So that is a goal that the mayor has really laid out. I'm 100% in support of, and this project is going to help realize that for this neighborhood as well as for the whole city. So thank you very much for that. And the second part that gets me excited about this is the way in which you're going to see public parks and public space be built into this new space. I remember back when we were focused on the stadium with Audi Field. We had really big fights about exactly what the design should look like. How do we make sure the outside is just as exciting as the inside? And those decisions and those fights we had many years ago are going to pay a direct dividend in seeing this neighborhood really become what it can be and really speak to the fact that we are right here by the river, that we are this amazing neighborhood. And so I'm really excited about that and really some intentional, beautiful design that's going to make this public space here very exciting to be a part of. Now, the city, of course, isn't done with our job here as well. We are already taking steps thinking about this transformation that's taking place here. Just up the street, we're going to be rebuilding the fire station because we know as thousands of more people call Buzzard Point home, we got to make sure that we've got the fire and emergency medical services that'll be there. And so just up the block, working with the mayor, we are rebuilding the fire station, making sure that capacity is there to help serve here. As we think about transportation, this is a unique space. We've got the Army on that side, and we've got the river on that side. So we cannot be a car-based and focused way to get around. We've got to think about how we get people here on bus, on bike, and yes, by water. And so being really thoughtful about how transportation works in this space is going to be something that I know that I can count on the mayor to be thoughtful with that work, as well as our ANC and our community members to help think through how we make this successful. So I am excited by this. I have a very strong hunch that 3 years from now, Mayor Bowser and I will be right here with you, helping cut that ribbon to make sure that we've got this great space and this wonderful part of our community here in Buzzard Point. So thank you, Matt. Congratulations to everybody.
Okay, 4 more years for Councilmember Allen. I'd like to now invite up Katie Hartley, the Director of Development from National Development. National joined our team collaboratively about 3 years ago, and Katie has been an amazing addition to the team, For those of you, and most of you have worked with Katie, you understand she works at a little different gear, right? We've been very fortunate to have that. Katie.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Katie Hartley, a director with National Real Estate Development. We're a full-service real estate development firm, and we focus on complex urban mixed-use projects. We pride ourselves on a roster of carefully selected projects and a rigorous development process that results in cutting-edge, community-centered developments with great partners in great cities. The Stacks, Anchorage, and Washington, D.C. are great examples of each. It's been an honor and a career highlight of mine to represent national development on this highly anticipated project. While we were forced to interact mostly over video conferencing these last 2 years, we're extremely grateful for the collaboration and steadfast vision of this hardworking development team. It's truly been a labor of love to get to this exciting day, made possible by the best team in the business. I may be biased, but in my career, I've never had a more productive, talented group of professionals, all of whom deserve far more than a shout out here today, but in keeping with very strict time orders, I'll do just that. Please hold your applause to the end. It's quite a team. From our friends at Anchorage, we have Kristen Connell, Andrei Ponomarev, Andrew Christopher, Gareth Ekman, Danny Petway, Greg Harris, Megan Trainer, Alexandra Martone, and you already met Adam Gooch. From the national development side, we have Dan Killinger, Brian Dylas, Nick Robinson, and Robbie Weingart. And last but not least, we have Tom White, who adds decades of construction experience to our roster. What a team. As Adam touched on earlier, the Stacks vision was inspired by historic, interconnected, and walkable communities that we visited in cities across the world during the planning phases of this project. Prioritizing the pedestrian through welcoming passageways and inviting spaces, the Stacks will anchor the recent transformation of the city's waterfront communities and turn Buzzard Point into a must-live, must-visit, and must-play destination. A large, diverse, and exceptionally talented group of designers, planners, and architects joined us on these precedent city trips. Their early involvement helped us shape, refine, and document our vision into the gorgeous renderings you see here today and will see here on site in a few short years. We're so thankful for their willingness to work together, which is not always an easy ask of architects, and trust that they're just as proud of what this team has put together as we are. Again, please hold your applause until the end. We'll start with the Gensler DC office. We have Morris Adjemi Architects out of New York, Hendel Architects also out of New York, Eric Colbert and Associates based here in DC, West 8 from Rotterdam, and Urban Matters from Madrid, Lee and Associates based here in DC, and dozens more sub-consultants that we sincerely thank as well. It's a special group. In closing, in my time at National Development, I've had the privilege to see firsthand the vibrancy that neighborhoods of this caliber can produce. Today, we start on page 1 of a great story here to come for the Stacks. We hope you'll join us in shaping this exciting narrative for Buzzard Point's community. Thank you.
Bridge Investment Group is our newest partner on this project. Bridge is a recognized leader in community revitalization and investment, and has consistently demonstrated throughout our engagement with Bridge just that on-the-ground type knowledge and collaboration, solution-oriented type partner. We're super excited to have Bridge part of our investment team. I'd like to invite Brian Hines to come on up and say a few words.
Good morning and thank you. It's been a pleasure to be here today and to be part of this phenomenal project, the Stacks. We at Bridge Investment Group are thrilled to be contributing to the development of the Buzzard Point neighborhood. The project has been an unmatched design and authentic sense of place. The Stacks is a prime example of the new standard of construction and development and the strength of the Opportunity Zone program, which is created here in DC. The Opportunity Zone program has been a catalyst to supporting transformative developments such as this one. At Bridge, we've been a long believer in Washington, D.C. real estate market and the Buzzard Point neighborhood, which represents the opportunity to contribute to the housing supply goals here. The stacks will be the cornerstone of how you make a neighborhood, a home, as well as a lifestyle destination. With both high quality and essential housing options for underserved neighborhoods throughout the country. The stacks also embodies our corporate mission to move the needle for social and environmental good and our commitment to integrate ESG across all of our Opportunity Zone projects, to improve our adoption of policies, implementation of community initiatives and programs, and the dedication of human and capital resources. We believe the strong corporate and individual citizenship go hand in hand. The stack sets the platinum standard in ESG practices across our 70 projects and 20,000 plus units. Across our portfolio with green building technologies, solar panels, stormwater retention, attainable housing, and LEED Gold certification. The Stacks is truly a once-in-a-lifetime project, and it has been a distinct pleasure to work with our amazing partners, National, Ackridge, Blue Coast Capital, and Cushman Wakefield. Thank you, and we look forward to the future of this project and the Stacks and how the Stacks revolutionize the Buzzard Point neighborhood and make it the best place in the country to live. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Great. And last but certainly not least is Jeff Canny, our CEO of National Real Estate Advisor. We've been partners with Jeff for more than 20 years on various projects. We've always found Jeff to be an absolute straight shooter. He's smart, he's transparent, and as honorable as they come. Maybe even equally as important as all of those traits is he's built an absolutely rock-solid team at National Real Estate Advisors. We've been honored to be your partner, Jeff. We invite you to come up and say a few remarks.
Good morning or afternoon. First of all, I'd like to say, Madam Mayor, thank you for coming. Thank you for your service to the city. It shows the hard work, your intelligence, your caring. Thank you. And I'm not going to thank anybody else because everybody's been thanked and there are too many people here to thank. And I hope I get to say hello to so many people that I know that I haven't had a chance to yet. So I want to tell you a little bit about the origin of this project. Maybe Katie wants me to tell you something about us a little bit. I should tell you something about Katie. She's a tigress who gave birth to 3 children since she started working on this project and never missed a beat, never missed a beat. It's pretty amazing. So we manage about $8 billion in assets. Our investment program is pure and simple. We do build to core. We build everything we own with almost no exceptions. We do that for a lot of reasons. One of the reasons we do that is because although we're independently run, we're owned by the National Electrical Benefit Fund, which is one of the largest Taft-Hartley funds in the country, one of the largest pension funds in the country, and it is the pension fund of the IBEW, the electrical workers. They like construction. We like construction. So at any one time, we have about 20 projects like this going on in every major city in the country. And we're very, very proud of what we do and how we do it. And I'll tell you a little bit about our goals, but I'm not going to talk a lot because I know it's hot out there. But I want to tell you about the origin of this project because you're all here today and we are ready to start and the plans are done and the GMP is in and the financing is here. But this is how this started. I got a call from Tom Wilbur one day and he said, Jeff, I got a deal for you. And I said, what is it? And he said, we should buy the Pepco property down by the Pepco plant. I said, great, what's the price? He said, $72.5, I think. I think that's right, Tom? Maybe it was $68.5. And I said, so why should we buy that? And he said, and this is called underwriting on the back of a stamp. We didn't even use an envelope. He said, if you can buy property for less than $30 in FAR in Washington, D.C., someday you will make money. And I said, you know what, I think you're right. So let's do it. So we went over to Pepco, and we had to convince Pepco that, in fact, we could close on the deal. That's why Tom brought me, I think. I'm sure he did. Didn't have enough money, actually, to close the whole deal. So when we made the deal, the first thing I had to do was call our good friends at Blue Coast Capital and say, Eva, do I have the deal for you? And that's how we put our capital stack together. I think we had 30 days to close. I'm a lawyer by training, started here at Arnold & Porter. I'm very careful about our documentation. The documents on this particular transaction we did and closed in 30 days. We shook hands, closed 30 days later, and our documents were a mess. I know a couple of years later, I asked something about the partnership agreement. It's like, well, that's not in there. And what do you mean it's not in there? Well, there's a lot that's not in there. Don't you remember you said we have to close this in 30 days? So why do I tell you that? I tell you that by way of this project's built on trust. It's trust. That document, who cares what that document says? What matters is what we tell each other, what our goals are, recognizing there's a lot of gray area in life, and we trust each other just like the IBW trusts us to do the right thing with their money and the other 60-some institutional investors that entrust their money to us. Living in Washington, you can't help say to yourself, well, if you believe that, somebody go up to Capitol Hill and tell those guys to start trusting each other a little bit. Maybe they'll get something done. But that's the origin of this deal. So we build lots of projects. I think we've finished about 150 large projects in the 22 years since we started our business. This project has a lot of things going for it in our portfolio. It's beautiful, sustainable, it's fantastic, but it also has prize #1 for longest gestation of any project ever. When we bought this in 2005, I thought this could take as long as 5 years to get done. I think 5 years later, we were in our third business plan. The Great Recession, the pandemic, but we stuck together. We found great partners like Bridge, and we're going to build this, and then we're going to build the next phase. We're going to do it a lot sooner than 18 years. So let me tell you why I'm so excited about this and why it fits our profile. We only have 3 goals. We want to make money. That's our goal #1. We got to make money for our investors, and we do that over 22 and some odd months, 22 years and some odd months. Our average annual return's been just under 10%. That's a lot of return over 22 years. We're going to keep doing that. But we also do that in the context of 2 other goals. Goal #2 is responsibility, sustainability, helping the communities we invest in. When we go somewhere and invest, and we're in almost every major city in America, we want those cities, the politicians, the community groups who are there to say, man, I cannot wait for them to come back. They build great projects. They're sustainable projects. They help our community. So that is goal #2. #3 is we want union labor on our jobs. Why do we want union labor on our jobs? We want union labor on our jobs because we believe people ought to get paid a fair wage. They ought to be safe on the job. They ought to be able to retire with respect and dignity. And we really care about that. And we've created over 150 million man-hours of work over the last 22 years. I think 62,000 full-time jobs. Now, thank you. Now, in Washington, D.C., I have to say this, it is very difficult to build a union project. Extremely difficult. And as a consequence of that, we've been less active here than we would like to be. This is our backyard. We have 80 people working in the city here, along with our other offices. So on this job, we struggled to find union labor. We got as much as we could get. We bent over backwards, and we asked a lot of people to make that happen. I'm sure Clark Construction wish some days they'd never seen me. But we didn't get as much as we would like. But what we think we're doing here is we think we're moving the ball forward. We're going to have a lot of union guys on this job. We're hoping that the guys who are not in union here are going to see how well they're paid, how well they work, how skilled they are, and that they have benefits to retire on, and maybe they'll become union. And maybe the other trades besides the electricians will get up out of their get off their asses, honestly, and go to work and organize people and give them the opportunities that comes from being a union member. So those are our 3 goals, number 1. And number 2, I have no doubt we are going to knock it out of the park on this. We're going to make money, and we're building a beautiful project that's going to help this city. And we're bringing enough union guys that I'm proud of that, but the next time, the next phase, it's going to be 100% union. That's what we're going for. But thank you all, everybody who's made an effort here. This is a huge contribution from everybody to make it happen. So, goodbye.
So, Jeff, our objective is to not just win the gestation prize, but the best project prize, too, okay? So we're going to wait for that one in a little bit. All right, so it's time now for our stacking ceremony. You can't do, when you're doing a project called the stacks, you can't do normal shovels. So we're going to actually stack blocks on top of this wall to complete this diagram. So those of you who know you're going to get a block, please come on forward, and we'll walk up the back of this wall and stack some blocks. So everyone in the audience gets one of these blocks at the end of the ceremony as well.
Katie, you're hiding Jeff.
Wait, one person.